Welcome to this episode of the Arth Systems Amazon Web Services series. Today we will be reviewing the implementation of disaster recovery with Amazon Web Services. Before we get started today, be sure to adjust your device's speakers to be able to enjoy the audio portion of today's presentation. If you wish to pause the presentation at any time, use the pause function of your chosen video player. Today's topics will provide information about the implementation of disaster recovery with Amazon Web Services, as well as some of the reasons that partnering with Arth Systems can ease the transition to a cloud-based infrastructure. If you would like an overview of the services offered by AWS, please view the AWS overview presentation located on the Arth Systems AWS grid. This overview is also available as a PDF file that can be downloaded for future reference. There are other presentations that contain discussions regarding the business proposition of Amazon Web Services and migrating applications to Amazon Web Services. The closing screen of the presentation contains information about contacting Arth Systems to begin planning your migration to a cloud-based disaster recovery solution. AWS provides agility in today's fast-paced world. The AWS infrastructure changes the timeline for deploying new servers from months to minutes. Servers can be added and removed in groups, and deployment and management of groups of servers further increases the efficiencies that are available with AWS. The virtual removal of the procurement cycle allows for a culture of innovation while keeping costs down. Developers now have the ability to experiment often, fail quickly at a low cost, and move on to the next project. AWS supports enterprise applications. Your current Oracle licenses are fully portable to AWS, and most SAP products are now certified for production deployment on AWS. You can easily install services that your team already knows. You have the ability to use your existing Microsoft licenses with the AWS Bring Your Own License pricing model. AWS supports big data and high-performance computing. Clients are running analytics for consumer web genome sequencing and large-scale batch processing. With the many combinations of AWS resources, from storage to database support to many sizes of compute resources, it is possible to support any requirements that are needed to drive your business. AWS provides high levels of industry-standard security. The security is a shared responsibility between AWS and the client. AWS manages the host operating system and virtualization layer, as well as the physical security of the facilities. The client assumes the responsibility at the guest OS layer and the associated application software. AWS provides a security group firewall that the client configures to meet their needs. Access to AWS can be controlled at multiple levels. Access can be granted to individual users or to groups of users. Roles can be assigned to both users and groups, and services can be accessed using corporate identity providers, including multi-factor authentication. AWS offers tools to support governance and compliance. AWS is certified and accredited for the workloads that matter in today's security-conscious world. AWS API call logging is available for governance and compliance through the AWS Cloud Trail service. These logs can be used to review user activity and are stored in Amazon S3 storage or can be archived to Amazon Glacier. AWS provides both data and network security. Data and objects can be encrypted automatically using AES 256. AWS provides a highly secure and convenient way to store and manage keys for customers who must use hardware security module appliances. The AWS Virtual Private Cloud adds another layer of network security by creating private subnets, and data can be encrypted at rest and in transit. AWS adds reassurance to the continuity of business. You can create an environment where failures just aren't that interesting anymore. Applications can be configured to self-heal. Compute, storage, and communications can be configured to allocate automatically in some cases and nearly automatically in others. This can account for almost any kind of failure. The monitoring service CloudWatch provides monitoring for both the resources and the applications, as well as facilitating immediate reactions to incidents. Metrics are collected and tracked automatically, and remediation can be performed programmatically or with manual intervention. Applications built with AWS can be enabled to provide a high level of fault tolerance. Elastic load balancing automatically distributes traffic across multiple EC2 instances. Capacity could be added seamlessly in response to incoming application traffic. Elastic load balancing can detect an unhealthy instance and reroute traffic to a healthy instance. Elastic load balancing can be enabled across a single availability zone or across multiple zones to provide added availability. AWS utilizes elastic IP addresses that are mapped to your account and can be detached from a failed instance and then mapped to a replacement instance in a very short time frame. These operations can be performed programmatically or manually. AWS Elastic Block Storage can be employed to increase application availability. EBS provides block-level storage volumes that persist independently from the life of an instance and can be attached to any running EC2 instance. EBS volumes store data redundantly using snapshots that can be created, providing another layer of protection for your data. AWS Elastic Block Storage can also be employed to provide backup and recovery, along with the snapshots to provide for higher durability. A robust backup strategy will include snapshots with a retention period as well as a traditional backup. The AWS distributed messaging serves as a backbone to fault-tolerant applications. The Amazon Simple Queue service stores messages in user-created queues. The queues are defined as a URL that can be accessed by any server that has internet access and is permitted by the ACL of the queue. The AWS storage solutions integrate seamlessly to the backup of both AWS and on-premise components. The AWS Storage Gateway can provide seamless backup of on-premise enterprise data to Amazon S3 storage, and Amazon Glacier provides a low-cost archival storage in the cloud. AWS provides multiple disaster recovery solutions, from a simple backup and restore to a full multi-site solution. Replicas can be defined to be read across regions for improved disaster recovery operations. Backup and recovery can be customized to retain your data based on the requirements of your applications. When migrating applications to the cloud, planning backup is only half the story. Recovery must be tested to ensure that recovery point and recovery time objectives can be met. The varying levels of protection can be applied based on a criteria-based model. Part of the Arth Systems methodology is to facilitate the creation of a criteria matrix. When deploying applications to the cloud, it is not an all-or-nothing choice. AWS can be effectively integrated with your on-premise resources. This allows for a phased and controlled migration to a cloud-based infrastructure. An AWS hybrid cloud offers flexibility to meet the needs of any organization. Using AWS Direct Connect, your AWS resources can integrate with Active Directory, your network configurations, your encryption policies, and your backup appliances. The tools to manage the infrastructure can all be accessed through a single pane of glass, even with a hybrid approach. Major changes to the underlying infrastructure of a company exposes the business to risk. Partnering with a team that has experience with cloud migrations will mitigate the risk, while allowing your own staff to stay focused on their primary objective of supporting the company and its customers. Per a Gartner study performed in 2013, AWS has the computing capacity to support any business requirement, as well as the services that are already providing the functions and features of today's demanding computing world. Arth Systems is an AWS partner with not only 5 years of experience in cloud development and implementation, but also a strong team of seasoned IT professionals with decades of combined subject matter expertise. Arth Systems celebrates a history of excellence that can be trusted to enhance your migration to a cloud-based technology. While Arth Systems has only been in business since 2008, we have sustained steady growth and have attracted a team of seasoned IT professionals who have a focus on client satisfaction. The Arth Systems consultative approach allows your team to trust that their knowledge in their own environment will be an integral part of any implementation, while being able to draw on the vast experience of the Arth Systems team. Arth Systems partners with AWS to facilitate the expertise of the AWS team in their systematic approach to migrating applications to the cloud. The Arth Systems team holds a number of certifications and accreditations. This depth of knowledge allows your team to trust that your migration will be a seamless collaboration between Arth Systems, AWS, and your team. Arth Systems utilizes a systematic approach that starts with assessments to ensure an understanding of your requirements and your desired outcome. We apply industry-standard project management methods to ensure the right tasks are completed at the right time. We know it is important that your team be prepared to manage the new infrastructure as it is rolled into production. We build knowledge transfer into each step of the deployment process. The following slides demonstrate the Arth Systems approach to implementing disaster recovery for applications with Amazon Web Services. The planning steps provide the Arth Systems team with the information that is needed to facilitate a design that will attain the desired goals. The implementation phase of disaster recovery for applications is referred to as a migration. The DR processes are transformed to exploit the AWS features that will enhance your infrastructure and transition their protection to the cloud. During the run phase, operational procedures are defined to ensure a smooth production experience. Processes and procedures are created to facilitate continuous improvement and optimization of the new infrastructure. All projects that Arth Systems participate in are concluded with an implementation site guide that documents the project. Before we take a look at the details of implementing disaster recovery with AWS, we will look at the high-level components of successful disaster recovery planning. Successful disaster recovery solutions are an ongoing process. The initial assessment and BIA are the first step, followed by assigning priorities and methods to each application. After the desired level of protection is assigned, the AWS services that provide that protection are selected. Regardless of the selected disaster recovery protection, standard backup and recovery for the applications and data are the first implementation step. This is followed by the implementation of the disaster recovery solution. It is imperative that the disaster recovery solution be fully tested to ensure that recovery point and recovery time objectives are met. A disaster recovery solution must be integrated into the process of creating new computing resources in the environment. It is also important to schedule periodic reviews and disaster recovery tests to ensure that the solution continues to meet the ongoing requirements of protecting the business assets. Many aspects of the environment must be assessed to gain a full understanding of the desired goals. For example, the costs of the current DR solution are documented to enable an accurate comparison between the existing solution and the AWS solution being implemented. The network assessment determines what, if any, enhancements to the current network would be required to support a cloud-based disaster recovery solution. This information is utilized to assess the cost and scheduling requirements for the overall project. The security assessment is used to determine which AWS services are required to meet the client's security requirements, either internal or government-driven. Performance assessments are used to set a benchmark to ensure that the new solution meets or exceeds expectations. Each of the candidate applications will have unique requirements. Some will be more complex than others. This information is used to build an accurate schedule and price. Many clients will have already participated in some form of a POC, but the pilot deployment allows for a deeper understanding of the features and benefits. The pilot deployment is used not only to validate technology, but also to provide a training platform for client staff members. Both the pilot and production migrations include a transition to production support. This transition includes training the operations staff and the facilitation of documentation for issue tracking purposes, as well as the documentation of resolution procedures. The results are compiled and presented to provide a business impact analysis that will facilitate the creation of a roadmap to a manageable migration to DR protection in the cloud. The DR implementations are performed in both a phased and a parallel fashion. The less complex solutions can be undertaken while the more complex solutions have the additional planning tasks coordinated. There are multiple methods that can be employed when implementing disaster recovery with Amazon Web Services. The following slides demonstrate the steps for each of the methods. There are steps that are common to each method, so the slides will be reviewed fairly quickly. If you would like to see one of them for a longer period, please remember to use the pause feature of your video player. Along with complexity, the type of protection required must be assigned to each application. During the migration phase, DR processes are transformed to exploit the AWS features that will enhance your infrastructure and transition them to the cloud. During the run phase, operational procedures are defined to ensure a smooth production experience. Processes and procedures are created to facilitate continuous improvement and optimization of the new infrastructure. As applications require higher levels of protection both for data recovery as well as business continuance requirements, utilization of Amazon Glacier provides a higher availability solution. Glacier provides for snapshots of volumes as well as mirrors in other regions. The snapshots and mirrors can be utilized for failover. In higher-end applications, seamless failover may be required. In the event of a physical disaster, it may be required to have the applications quickly available at another location. There are a few failover options available with Amazon Web Services. An active-active configuration would be available immediately when the primary site becomes unavailable. Warm Standby provides the failover with a short delay. And a Pilot Light Recovery has systems that can be started but aren't instantly available. The priority matrix created during the planning phase facilitates the assignment of applications to the various levels. At the end of all projects, a complete implementation site guide is created to document the project from start to finish. The guide includes information that is required by the client to support the final configuration moving forward. Before a project is considered complete, sign-off is obtained from the client. If the client feels there are unresolved issues, these are addressed prior to sign-off. While the solution chosen in this case was not a cloud-based solution, the goal of meeting disaster recovery requirements were well understood and met. The project was well managed and completed ahead of schedule and within budget. The team consisted of 4 members that facilitated the installation of all hardware and software. There was 1 full-time project manager assigned. The Arth Systems engineers have a combined 20-plus years of experience in designing, implementing, and managing business continuance solutions. As you make the decision to move to the cloud, it's important to understand the available benefits and how they correlate to your current infrastructure. The ability to demonstrate the financial benefits to all stakeholders can facilitate the approval of a project. As the project moves forward, it is imperative that your developers understand the technical benefits offered by AWS when architecting enhancements to any application. As with any major change in the underlying infrastructure, there are pitfalls that can be avoided by partnering with an experienced team. The cloud poses a few items that may seem obvious, but falling into them could be the difference between success and failure. It is important to remember that the cost must be calculated differently. If this is not considered, it may be difficult to document the benefits moving forward. Communication is key to mitigate the chance of unexpected incidents as the deployment is performed. It is imperative that the real-world cost of downtime be well understood. Arth Systems employs a robust business impact analysis process to ensure the right level of protection is applied to all applications included in the deployment. AWS itself can present challenges. The services are continually being enhanced and improved, but for example, today the retirement of an application instance can be unpredictable. Awareness of this allows the investment in deployment and monitoring automation early in the project. All of these things can be avoided by utilizing an experienced team to partner with your own team. Arth Systems believes that closing a project well is an important phase. It is always important to have the ability to look back at what was deployed and how everything was configured. When there are questions down the road or maintenance tasks to be performed, having all the information in one place is a valuable asset. Arth Systems provides a complete implementation site guide at the end of each project. It includes all the information regarding the work performed. The testimonials displayed here are only a sample of the results the Arth Systems team attains when their team partners with a client team. So we encourage you to engage with AWS and Arth Systems to move your infrastructure to the cloud. There are many reasons that a cloud-based infrastructure may drive your future business. Everything from a technology refresh to additional capacity to support new projects. It may be that you are either considering outsourcing or you are already outsourced but aren't happy with the results. There may also be business continuance initiatives that can be best met with a disaster recovery solution based in the cloud. Trust is a key component of all our systems relationships. Trust is core to everything we do every day. We know that building trust takes time. It is the accumulation of trustworthy events that lead to a trusting relationship. Our systems is dedicated to effective two-way communication with a focus on all project details. Thank you for your time today. We appreciate that your time is valuable and that you chose to invest some of it with us today. Please use the information displayed to start the engagement process. We look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day.